Friends, hi, welcome to day 40. I hope you're well. Also including yesterday's readings from day 39. But in Exodus, what we see yesterday and today is basically God expanding on the commandments that we read on Wednesday. And most of what we see is fairly, just mostly pretty good, solid advice for living. It talks about fairness and equality, and justice and responsibility. Some of it, Jesus at a later stage comes along and updates some of it, if you like. So, for example, we see in there a little bit about paying someone back an eye for an eye. And if you remember, Jesus comes along in the New Testament and says, "You've heard it said, an eye for an eye, but I tell you no." And he basically goes on to say, don't be taking revenge on people. But pretty much, God is just expanding the commandments to give rules for everyday life in the situations that people find themselves in. And friends, God isn't this God who is kind of far removed or irrelevant for daily life. Some people would say that. But instead, I think this shows us that God speaks into every situation and every circumstance that we can find ourselves in. And there is advice and there is guidance for us in that. On into chapter 24, and we see Moses. Moses goes back up the mountain to confirm the covenant with God. And what strikes me from this chapter, look down at verses 15 through to 18, and we see, when Moses went up on the mountain, the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord settled on Mount Sinai. For 6 days the cloud covered the mountain, and on the 7th day the Lord called to Moses from within the cloud. To the Israelites the glory of God looked like a consuming fire on top of the mountain. Then Moses entered the cloud as he went up on the mountain, and he stayed on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. Friends, what really strikes me is just the patience of Moses in that. And maybe we need to learn something from that as well. You know, how often do we sit down to pray and it's a 10-second job? We list our requests and then finish, or we ask God for something and then we kind of expect this answer straight away. We see in these verses, Moses waited there for 6 days in God's presence before God finally spoke to him on the 7th day. And then after that, he stayed on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. Friends, let's not be scared just to wait with God, to spend time in his presence. And maybe we need to make time to spend with God. But let me encourage you, let's be doing that. On into Matthew, and what we see in this passage is Jesus saying that nobody knows, basically, when he will return. The angels don't know. Not even Jesus himself knows. The only person that knows is God himself. And so let me just encourage you to ignore any predictions that you may come across on TV from any of these televangelists or people like that. There have been a few of them around. I'm sure there'll be more in the coming weeks and months, but friends, we can ignore those completely. Jesus himself says that nobody knows, not even him, when the Son of Man will return. And he said it's just like the flood back in Noah's day. Nobody knew it was coming, and there were people that were caught out by that. And so Jesus is saying, be careful. He's going to come when we don't expect him, basically. And so, friends, let me just encourage you not to put off repenting or changing course, if you like, thinking that there's still time to have fun first. You know, don't be fooled by that thing of, I'll just do this one more time and then I'll stop. I promise, because it never ever works. And so, friends, please, let's be ready now and let's stay ready. You know, Jesus mentions 2 men that will be in a field, and one of them will be taken and the other one will be left. And I don't want to be the one left, and I don't want you to be the one that's left either. So, friends, enjoy your day. Enjoy the weekend coming up, but please be ready. God bless.